What's going on, people? What's going on? What's going on? Coming strong with some content. Coming strong with the latest illustrial, prestigial, perennial type of content. If you don't know what it's about, look it up in your extraterrestrial dictionary that you can find on Google, on the internet. We're talking artificial intelligence at its finest. At its finest. Okay? Check out Decentralized Minds on Telegram group. For everyone and anyone who's out there listening to this video right now, check out Decentralized Minds. I'm gonna leave a link in the description. When you got the likes of Bent Crypto doing content, the owner of Decentralized Minds, blessing us with videos in the YouTube sphere, in the internet sphere. When you got the likes of Crypto Heem doing his One Thug Thizzle, Crypto Saint not missing a beat with the content, not missing a step, not missing a pep in his step. Man, oh man. And I gotta say, listen, man, if you're looking for any type of spectacular type of design, graphics, check out Nomad. I'm gonna leave all this information. Nomad is an alien. He's from another dimension. The work he's done is fantastical, mastical. It's great. It's great. So let's look at what's taking place here in the Bitcoin crypto universe. Not just limited to Bitcoin, but BTC is the granddaddy about to approach the halvening. And people don't really care. People don't give a F. Only people who really care about crypto at this point are nerds like myself. The ones who've been here, toiling in the mud, hands deep in the grime and the dirt, digging for these dividends and crypto sats, stacking them one sat at a time. We're the ones who care. The large majority of the world can care less. So you got content creators like myself, content creators like just much more successful and older veterans in the cryptocurrency space who toil on the regular, trying to provide the community with information on providing news with cryptocurrency, providing content related to different types of blockchains, related to different types of decentralized applications, related to different types of new upcoming updates on different cryptos. Toiling every day. You even find themselves, the content is becoming watered down. It's almost like everything you hear and you listen to just becomes static interference, just noise. Charlie Brown, wonk, wonk, wonk. That's all you hear after a while. After a while, it's just like, it's all mud. It's mush. Right? But for the nerds, for those of us, and I call myself a nerd proudly, because this is what was one aspect of things that catches my interest, that's caught my interest, and I just cannot let it go. I cannot disconnect from crypto. I'm sorry, can't do it. It's not going to stop. It is what it is. But when things happen in this community, I've noticed, and things that seem might be on a subjective level, even though things are relative, when things happen that may seem important, newsworthy, groundbreaking news, breaking news. Folks don't care. Folks don't care. The only people, and when I say folks, we're talking about the masses. When people talk about mass adoption, I don't even think about that anymore, because it's just a number that's just too huge to quantify in my small, big head. So I just, we're not the biggest YouTuber who provides cryptocurrency content is still relatively small to the most popular YouTuber or YouTube content creators that use the medium to create social content on the social network. I'm talking about guys who have, let's say, say 500,000 subscribers in YouTube. Individuals like maybe Data Dash, right? Close to 500,000. I haven't seen him recently as far as watched his channel recently, but the guy has huge numbers. But compared to other folks in YouTube who just speak about different types of, whatever content creators and stuff who have well into millions and millions and millions, I mean, 500,000 is chicken feed compared to these other people, man. We in the community have a long way to go, and I always emphasize keeping an outlook on how things, what has history shown us as far as the internet. Like for example, I'm not a technical person, but when you're talking about things like HTTPS, I don't know what's that, hypertext transfer protocol, blah blah blah, internet protocol, SMTP, smart money technology protocol, these terms that are just directly connected with the internet. If the people had a chance to get a piece of, let's say, HTTPS or SMT or TCP or TCIP, these internet protocols that currently exist, if we were to have gotten a chance to acquire a piece of that and own it back when the internet was heavily introduced into the world, I want to say like late 80s, early 90s, especially early 90s in the US with America Online and yada yada yada, woo, our bank would have been looking good right about now. But when you're looking at up to date now, hindsight is always 2020, like the year 2020. Everything is only 11 years old when you're talking about blockchain tech. We're talking about 11 years. When I'm looking at Ethereum, I'm thinking about what's going to be the next Google that is going to be created on top of Ethereum, or possibly the next Amazon or the next Netflix. If Google and these blockchains, if Bitcoin and these blockchains they say are level 1 or phase 1.0 layer, whatever, that's the ground, and now you have opportunities for engineers, developers, programmers to build on top of these strong layers and foundations. Imagine this is the stage that we may very well be right now as far as being way ahead of the curve. I'm not a technical person, so a lot of this stuff really doesn't resonate with me, but it resonates with many, and I still consider myself a nerd. It is what it is. That's why I love talking about this content, this specific subject, not just content, but this subject related to crypto. You got all this kind of crazy stuff going on. There's always going to be some crazy stuff going on with different chains, with personalities, with crypto founders and crypto CEOs fighting against one another, fighting against the community. 51% attack this. This community is trying to usurp the authority of another community. Decentralization versus centralization. It's always going to be some kind of stuff going on, some craziness. But then you have to keep a level and balanced sort of attitude and disposition to figure out where do you fit in all of this. Because it's madness. And if you constantly feed yourself this type of information constantly, and it's just giving you high anxiety, you might become a little bit unstable after a while. It may become too much and overwhelming to where you don't want to be, like I could see. It's just, look, I digress. Well, there's a lot of talking about coronavirus now. In prior times before, at one point it was Zika virus. Another point it was H1N1. Another time it was Ebola. Another time it was SARS. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Today it's Corona. And this thing with what the media does that I find I never can really appreciate. It's how all of a sudden, you hear one set of data one day, and then the next day the data just multiplies out of nowhere, as if that the data that they provided, they delivered to the world, the information that they're giving was accurate in the first place. No. Because we know everyone does not go and seek medical attention when they do not feel well. How do you quantify that information? How do you quantify or capture the data from individuals who do not trust medicine, traditional medicine, who do not go to seek help from hospitals, and who rather seek alternative types of treatment or just not walk into a hospital at all to get treatment, and may succumb or be active carriers of these types of viruses? I don't know. But the media, this is the number they give you. They give you one set of numbers, and it progressively increases over time. When you know very well that, especially in the United States, these hospitals, if there were to be a serious type of pandemonium, some type of outbreak, these hospital and urgent care centers and emergency departments would not be able to hold all of the people that live in their respective locales or districts and treat them all at the same time. It just couldn't happen. It's like, after a while, this thing becomes a thing of fear, of feeding and creating some type of like atmosphere of intimidation, fear mongering, and I don't subscribe to that. What are you reduced to do? What are you supposed to do? Live in your own, not come outside? They saying that, how many, shipments from like pretty much any type of business or drop shipping activity coming out of China has just been, severely cut, if not completely shut down so far. But the globe depends on trade with China. This disease supposedly has touched all the continents except Antarctica. There are people who succumb to colds, to natural colds or flu this particular season, and have experienced a certain level of sickness that they've never experienced before. Like gut-wrenching, painstaking levels of sickness where they just like a cold just knocked them on their behinds. And at the same time, this thing is festering. This talk of COVID-19 or coronavirus, and this thing keeps festering. To prove, what's this supposed to be about? Spreading fear. You could see it affect the markets, because people are human beings. This is emotionally driven anyway. When you're talking about human beings and the markets and how things behave, that's why I don't really follow TA. I'm not saying I'm not a technical. I'm just not a technical analysis type of person. I know it has its purpose. It has its purpose. It exists for a reason. But I just don't follow that. I just know when you're talking about things like these news, this media, this stuff that they feed you, and then if you obtaining your information from a source that's sort of biased, you're being given information that's not objective, not impartial, completely biased or one-sided. It could possibly even be prejudicial information. And this is what you're left to believe if you don't try to see things from an outside perspective or think outside of the box. And this applies to the currency. This applies to crypto. Because those of us who are in crypto, I firmly believe, are thinkers people who think outside of the box. People who are daring. People who are adventurous, imaginative, courageous, creative, and who I want to believe who just generally want to have another opportunity to succeed in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, just have another opportunity to succeed. Whether it's from a selfish perspective or a universal type of holistic perspective, either way, it's about improvement. So that's my take on that. It's my take on that. Listen, I am just gonna continue to do what I do. You know, listen, what you watching here is another snapshot out of a series of information that I'm going to continually dole out by way of providing that heat, that content that you come to this channel to ingest, to process, to break down, to be fully entertained by. All right. Once again, check out Decentralized Minds. I'm gonna leave a link in the description. Take care of yourselves.